Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the EmpowerMAN podcast. It's your boy, Mikey G, coming to you live from the free state of Florida. And what I'm looking at on this camera is all man and then some grade A, USDA, 100% ground man. He knows his identity and he knows how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
He is my boy and he's your boy. He is the champion of the Second Amendment. He's the parent. He's the patriot. But more importantly, he's the friend. He's the brother. He's the father. Greg A. Tedora. Number one, sir, Greggy T. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Today's February 2nd to you too, sir.
That's right. 12 more days of Valentine's Day, Greggy T. I expect something in the mail.
Yeah, your package will be delivered. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I got you something.
Oh, thank you. Well, how is the weather? Because take three guesses. It's cold, rainy, and doldrums up here.
Well, it's been really tough because it's like partly sunny, but not all sunny. I mean, it starts off like 59 degrees and ends up at like 80, but still, I just want it to be 80 24/7.
Yeah. Well,
but that's Florida for you.
The things you got to sacrifice. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad all my tax dollars are going to climate change. So it's really affecting me down here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And before we start off here, Greggy T, one thing I want to really put a special emphasis on today is our policemen and women, our firemen and women, our EMTs. We always thank you guys for what you do every episode. But I saw some things on the news that kind of really startled me, especially in New York City. We have a lot of friends there at NYPD. Mm-hmm. And to see the challenges that a lot of these great men and women that protect these streets and municipalities go through, it's really sad to see, what these challenges that these brave people are putting forth every day. Just know you're loved and appreciated here at EmpowerMAN, and you are greatly appreciated, and your contributions to making our society safe. Our EMTs, first responders, thank you for everything. Policemen and women, firemen and women.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with Mike, and you guys are in the worst spot right now with the worst leadership, in my opinion. And you're handcuffed. You can't do anything. Just please be careful and just take care of business. And there are people that love and support you. So thank you. And also to that, all the military personnel here at home and at overseas, especially overseas right now. It's a lot of challenging times. Once again, poor leadership, and we're targets. So just be careful and show the flag, and you are very well loved here and respected.
Greg, I couldn't have said that any better, man. That's awesome. Today we talked about a few things before we came on camera. Mm-hmm. This being the 10-year anniversary of the death. Is it his birthday or
it's his birthday today?
Birthday of the inspiration behind the movie American Sniper, Chris Kyle. Mm-hmm. So happy heavenly birthday, Mr. Kyle, sir.
Absolutely. Respect to him. Rest in peace. And thank you for all that you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also, I want to give a shout out to a member of the EmpowerMAN family. Mm-hmm. It is Amanda Herdman's birthday today.
Oh!
So very happy birthday to the soon-to-be bride, because she's living life to the fullest during the engagement, getting married, doing the whole thing. So happy birthday to her. Nothing but respect.
Yeah. And I echo those sentiments. Happy birthday, Amanda. Cheers with my caffeine-free Diet Coke.
There you go.
That's right. And Greggy T, what is that shirt you're wearing there, sir?
It's the good old boys at GBRS. I big fan of theirs. So keep coming up with the good gear and all the training courses, knowledge transfer, the whole thing. They really help out the community. So hats off to them.
Cool. That sounds awesome. And I'm rocking one of Nine Line's finest shirts. Looking forward to collaborating with them in the future when we know that's in the works. So it's cool. Finally get to see the EmpowerMAN logo.
It was cool when I was down in Florida going out to dinner with you. We stopped by there real quick, did a little bit of shopping. So always good to show support and head into one of their stores. So pretty cool.
Oh man, the one in Key West is probably awesome.
Just saying, we're gonna have to go there, sir.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Works for me, sir.
Yeah.
So today we have a great topic because I'm guilty of this, and I think a lot of people are out there. Is we tend to kind of repeat the same mistakes that we tend to make, and it's
Mhm.
just like you want to do the right thing, but then you always end up making the mistake.
Yeah.
And it's kind of understanding the genesis or the origins of where the decision making neurons in our brain allow us to make these choices, right? So it's really
Mhm.
kind of taking this and throwing it out there and breaking it down frame by frame. Because I'm sure I'm not the only guy that goes through this.
Nope.
So having this healthy dialogue kind of can help paint light on certain things.
Yeah.
Greggy T, it's just start off with a basic question, man. Why do we tend to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again?
I mean, it's what happens. There's not one answer to answer that, but it also depends, in my opinion, on the type of person that you are. I can safely say you and I are like fixers. We want to help people. We want to fix somebody else's problem, blah, blah, blah. So that is definitely, in my opinion, one of the reasons why possibly we make or we have made in the past the same mistake more than once.
Nah.
Just saying. Just saying.
No, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head, man.
That's just one aspect. I mean, others people are glutton
Yeah.
for punishment. People don't learn from their mistakes, and it gets even deeper than that. It could be how they were brought up, childhood, any generational trauma that they went through, and generational meaning like their parents and then their parents and then their parents, because it gets passed down until somebody breaks that chain. And so it can go. That answer could be any of the above. I'm just saying for us, it's a personality thing. We like to fix things, and
Yep.
as we get older, or especially when I get older, because I'm older than you, you realize you're not going to fix people, and you shouldn't try to fix people. You can help them get better or maybe see things, but you're never going to change somebody or anything. So
Yeah, and that's a great, you ended that statement with a great reminder that you can't fix people.
no,
You can't change people unless they themselves want to be fixed or
yeah,
want to change for themselves, not for you. Because when someone does something
absolutely,
for you, then that can have like a reverse effect and they can actually become resentful towards you.
they'll use it against you. Absolutely.
They'll 100% use it
But that
against you.
little thing you just said is huge. It's a huge thing. They have to do it and want to do it for themselves.
Right.
It's huge.
And you can't force that upon people either. You
And
can't
and it sucks when sometimes they just don't want to. And it's
right.
hard for people like us to understand that we can't wrap our brains around it. And it just, you got to come to terms with it.
You mentioned something about being a glutton for punishment. Why do you
Mm,
think some people are a glutton for why do you think people just love pain? It sounds like a weird question to ask you, but
mm,
it's something that's pretty prevalent out there because I think that has something to do with repeating those same mistakes, especially when it comes to dating or when it comes to jobs or it comes to friends or some type of socio
yeah.
psychological aspect of our world. Why do people are glutton for punishment?
I don't know. I think in a real, not spiritual way, but some people just have hope. And hope is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But some people like cling to it, and they just squeeze hope that this will be the one or this will be the next thing, even though it's literally the same thing you just went through and it was a horrible experience. You know what's coming, and you still step in there knowing it's coming, and you're just holding on to that hope that it won't happen, and it does. So I think a baseline answer could be they're really like caught up on hope. Everyone should have hope,
Mhm.
but that's not the end all be all. There are other factors. Hope could be a good baseline and then go from there. But we know a lot, like when we were younger, and we're very pro police here. But when we were younger, we knew a lot of girls that dated cops. Now, granted, not all of them are bad, but when they particular friends date cops, usually the same thing happened over and over and over. And it's like you're not changing any patterns. You're not changing anything different. You're just inserting somebody different with literally like the same stuff. expecting a different outcome, and it's because they're hopeful that, oh, this one will be different, this one will be different, and it's like, guys, what am I doing wrong? And you and I are like, you're just picking the same thing. You might as well just stay with the first one. It's all the same. So I think has part to do with it.
Yeah, no matter how many times you say to yourself, I'm not going to make the same mistake, I'm not going to make the same mistake, then you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself in that same pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we'll tackle later is how to possibly break these patterns. Having the awareness. Like I think
Yeah.
some people just aren't even aware that they
Most
are
aren't.
making
Most
mistakes
aren't truly aware. I agree with you.
over and over again. We know girls that will pick the same type of guy,
Every time.
one after another, and you sit back and watch, and you're like,
Yeah.
You asking
Yep.
for advice, but I mean, it's falling on deaf ears. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
a politically correct statement to say. There's no offense meant by that, but it's
Whatever.
just one of those things where it's, no one's really, you're not really listening. When people ask for advice and then you do the opposite, it's like,
Hmm.
well, why are you asking me in the first place?
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
I think a lot of people just want to be heard. Like it's almost like a way of confessing that they're making a mistake. We talk about it as far as having community and accountability. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
nobody takes accountability for anything anymore. They're just pass the
Most people
buck,
don't. Yeah.
the blame
Most
game,
people. Yep.
right? And we had a conversation the other day about being Christian versus being Catholic, and there's a
Yeah.
certain relationship you have with God as being Christian. So you are able to like kind of like atone for your sins, or because we're all sinners, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you go and say three Hail Marys to our fathers and you're okay. Go ahead. It's understanding like why things happen and then having a community of accountability,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding like, hey, listen, dude, like you made that mistake before. Don't make that mistake again. If you're going to make that mistake again, join a group, join something where you can get to the root problem or share experiences so that you can take that. And when you're in that situation again, the warning signs will pop up like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't go and have 5 or 6 drinks knowing I got to get behind the wheel of a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just say, hey, I'm going to Uber somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and Uber back. So, I mean, that's kind of a kind of big analogy there, but we kind of paint the picture.
Yeah. But also, I think,
Yeah.
speaking of faith, because just to give a little background, I asked Mike the other day, what's the difference? Like, obviously, I grew up Catholic, but I didn't finish CCD. I was swimming and traveling and all that stuff. But I was like, what's the difference between like Catholic and Christianity? Because I'm not a religion guy. And, Mike explained the relationship part versus more, I guess, like stone cold, like set things, which I understand. And then, when people hear Christian, they automatically assume, most people do, that it's not a cult, but it's like, it's so much like BS and like, it's like a, chanting and singing and like a group of people, which maybe it is, but I'm just saying it is a community. But I can see how people can go down like a rabbit hole. Like you were saying, like take a class. That's good. I think that's a great thing to have. But when does it, or where does you draw the line where it's like, but I also have to live my life. Like I struggle with that. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about it all the time. I'm like, I'm not gonna give it like concrete examples, but like, like you would ask me, I'm like, yo, you're fine, whatever, just don't worry about it. And you're like, well, no, I'm gonna talk about it and this and that, like, and that's cool. But I don't know. I have a hard time, not a hard time, but I try to wrap my head around like, you still got to live your life. It's okay. You're not out killing people. Like you're okay. Everything's fine. You make a mistake. We all make mistakes. So what? And to be honest, it's not even a mistake in my opinion.
Right.
There's the outliers and there's factors and there's history and there's all sorts of things involved where I guess where I'm going is you don't have to be, not you, people don't have to be so heavy on themselves, like cut themselves a little slack. Like it's
Right.
okay, you're human. And I understand, like, trust me, I get, like, I can't stand when people use that as a blanket excuse for everything. I can't stand that. But sometimes it is valid, like, yo, it's okay. You made a mistake, no big deal.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we can talk about it now since we're gone
Yeah.
that path. It's like when you have a relationship with God or you have a belief in the Holy Spirit, It's kind of like, it kind of gives you that compass. It kind of helps you navigate through certain situations. So when we talk about mistakes being a feeling coming up, but we can actually bypass that, you almost have a sense that you're making a mistake because you have that feeling. At least I do. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I ignore that mistake because I like the instant gratification,
Of
or I
course.
know what it's going to yield me. And then I will call my pastor, or I'll talk to you, or I'll talk to a
Hmm.
friend and be like, I messed up,
Hmm.
and it's understanding that while I may be hard on myself, there's a higher power that created me, that created you, that has kindness, has compassion, and has mercy and has love. In the Catholic faith, sometimes it can be misconstrued as God hating you because you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Whereas Christianity is more about love and understanding like how the Bible really can apply to your life. And not to go down a rabbit hole, but real quick, the book of John's all about love and understanding about God's love and understanding like, hey, dude, you're right. We are human. That's why he sent his only son into the world so he can experience the challenges of the flesh, right? There's so many different ways you can look at these things, but yes, this all ties into making mistakes.
Hmm.
Even though we make mistakes and we sin, God still loves us. But it's making those same mistakes over and over again where God sits back and is like, dude, I'm giving you the playbook. Why are you
Mm.
choosing not to ignore? Why are you ignoring me? It's
Yeah.
like God wants to be in all of our lives. And you're looking at someone who has made mistakes, sometimes mistakes over and over. And it took me a long time. People have to realize this too. And I'm sorry to go on a tangent here.
No, it's all good.
It is a process. You don't just like have a relationship with God, get baptized. Okay, I'm going to walk without peril. Like it is a process. It is a challenge. You have double arrows coming at you because now you're openly declaring that you are of a Christian faith. And people have to also realize too, there's a part of society that wants to see people that are Christian, that talk about their faith, fall. They want to see them
Yeah.
fail because they can say, see, you are a hypocrite. You are
Hmm.
this, like you're being judged.
Hmm.
When
I
you're
believe there's some sort of spiritual warfare out there going on right now.
100,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%.
Hmm.
But you even said it before, like people think like it's a cult or it's
Yeah.
this or it's that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's extremes on every side. Every
Of
religion has
course. Of course.
extremism. But I think as a society, average people that will see someone happy because they're walking with the Lord or they decide to follow Jesus' teachings or try to become better. People want to see, we always talk about this, and this is going to be a little controversial here, but most girls tend to be a little jealous of other girls when they're happy.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, right? And
Mhm.
sorry,
Mhm.
ladies, and it's not disrespect, but it tends to be something that we've experienced in our life. I've never seen like a girl. People are generally happy for each
Like
other.
truly happy.
Truly, and listen, guys do the same thing. Like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie, like sometimes I get envious of like some of the younger wrestlers because they're getting an opportunity or they're doing this. Of course, I'm envious because I want to be there. Just
Mhm.
like you see one of your guy, like one of your boys are happy. Like you're not. I mean, well, it's different because we're not jealous. We're like,
Yeah.
I'd like to be that happy, but
Mhm.
it tends to be a little more cattiness with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
That's safe to say.
Yeah.
So I think people really want to see Christian men and women stumble and fall just so they can be judged. But you see, when you have freedom in a spiritual sense, there's only one person judging you, and that's really what really matters. So it's like, hey, when I live my life, I try to do the best I can to do the right things. But it's really having the Holy Spirit guiding you inside of you. Because you'll know, like we talk about, and let's talk about it right now. We'll just skip through the notes
Mhm.
here. I think mistakes are a feeling. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I make mistakes. I know what I'm doing is wrong. I'll go with that. Greg, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think mistakes can be? Do you think like you can sense when a mistake's coming on, and you choose to ignore those feelings and do it anyway, or do you think it's more of an emotional, reactive, or thought provoking type of stance you would take before making that mistake?
For me personally, it's probably both. Like I know right from wrong, and I know what's a mistake and what's not given the circumstances. And like you said before, sometimes I just ignore it and the mistakes made, but I also think, yeah, there is a feeling of I know this is wrong, but then you try to like you backpedal in your brain or whatever. You try to justify it in some sort of way, or you just completely just shove it aside and not care and think, I'll worry about it down the road if it even
Exactly.
surfaces. Who knows? But I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I think so. I think it definitely. For me, it's both. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that too, where I'm just like, even now, even though I've been Christian. No, I see. I started going to church in what, June of 2021.
Mm.
So, like, even now, I'm still like, I'll say, "F it." I'll worry about it later, and I know it's wrong. And it's kind of like playing Russian roulette in a way, in a
But
weird way.
I question you on that. Like, but is it really wrong? What's wrong
Yeah,
about it?
depends
Yeah.
situationally.
Yeah.
There's a certain type of, like, when you get baptized, and there's a certain sense of like regaining some pureness, right? There's certain things that I struggle with that I think have precluded me from reaching
Did
where I want to reach in my life. And I had this conversation with my pastor
you mean
yesterday.
financially or just personally?
I think it bleeds into both. I
Okay.
think your personal will lead into financial, which lead
Mm.
into business.
Yeah.
And I think, as if you stop growing and stop evolving, you're never going to really reach any type of potential. So
Yeah.
I always try to search for, how do I become better? How can I be a better person? What can I do differently in my life? And there are certain things that have held me back. A lot of things can hold a lot of men and women back, whether it's alcohol, gambling, pornography, you name it. There's going to be some type of vice. Diet Coke,
Diet Coke, sir.
except for coffee. Coffee is actually an enabler. Coffee is good for you. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that a boy, that a boy. Yep. I hit my 3 cup limit today. I'm good.
Wow, early in the day for that, sir.
Early bird gets the worm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, going back, I think it's one of those things where, if there's something in your life that's plaguing you, and I think every guy goes through it, whether it's self doubt, insecurity, anger, jealousy, you name it, being able to get a hold on that reverberates throughout it's like if you draw a circle and then, like, you have
Yep.
spheres of influence. And if
Mm-hmm.
you have one thing that's really rocking the orbit of how that sphere rotates, is going to kind of magnify and reverberate through each section of your life. That's what I believe. What are your thoughts, Greg?
I mean, I like that. I struggle with the whole faith thing. I always have because my mind was always on like swimming and scholarship, and I was always thinking like those routes. I wasn't thinking like, go to church or anything like that. And then when I was, in college, after college, never went to church or anything. I didn't do any of that. So, and my parents were always cool, and they're like, listen, we're not going to tell you what to do or not to do, but you should believe in something, no matter what that is. Just believe in something and have some sort of like grounding root for you. And I always like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I yeah it and didn't care. Not that I didn't care. I didn't believe. And, when bad things happen, you're like, oh, well, you know, there's no such thing if they're allowing this to happen, then fuck it.
Right.
And, that whole mentality with everything. And like, I think this is weird. When I started, so everyone knows big Sean Ryan show fan. He started about 3 years ago, and we had similar beliefs on this topic. Like he didn't believe in any of that stuff, and he had his history and his past or whatever, and I had mine, and he fast forward now, he like he's like baptized, found his faith and all that, which is great. And I just find myself more open to the thought of maybe I should um look into the what I'm thinking and feeling more. So I've been to a lot of funerals lately. A lot of people around me have passed, and it just I hate those things, and I don't do well at them. And the more I'm in the church and the service, I'm just listening with an open mind. Like I don't care what faith it is, or I don't even like. I ask you, like, what is it, delegation? I don't even know what any of that is, but I just listen with an open mind. And some of those sermons, I guess they're called or whatever, they were really good, and it just makes me think, then it brings me back to what my parents said, like just believe in something, anything, and then maybe. So I'm having more and more of these thoughts, like maybe I need some sort of like foundation or some sort of place to put some of these thoughts. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Absolutely,
it's
100%.
weird. It's like but I battle with it because I said fuck it for so long, and I was not against it. I just I guess I was against it. I just like nope, I want nothing to do with that, and just the whole stigma of everything, and one of my roommates, love him, Brian Fish. If you're listening, what's up, buddy? He's from Ocala, Florida, where they had like one street light growing up. And I'm from New Rochelle, where life is completely different. And I remember he's big into his faith and church and all that, and highly involved like you, and weekly meetings and all this stuff. And he was relentless with me and my other roommate Scott from Houston, Texas. What's up, Scott? And he was on us too. Yeah, you should come with me. Come with me. Come with me. And we're like, no, we're not going. We're going here. We're going out. We're doing this. We're doing that. And then when it's how he got us to go. He's like, oh, there's a lot of girls at this event. So Scott and I were like, we're there. So we went on like a Friday. And I remember it was cool. It was cool. We were in a different place. So not really the girls we were used to or looking for, but probably should have been looking for. And I'm not saying they're all like good. I'm just saying we always talk about be careful where you're, I don't want to say hunting or where you were hanging out or whatever. But when we were there, it was kind of cool because they welcomed us. They were cool with us because we were complete outsiders and they knew we were not like them, I guess, in a way. But it was cool. And I always remember that. And I respect him more now for trying to get us to go. Yeah. Because we did not make it easy. We were assholes, and not in a bad way, like in a fun, bantering way, but like it had to have been hard for him because he was so straight-laced and all about it. And hey, listen, he's a good dude. He's super successful. I'm very happy for him. So it worked out for him. So
yeah. And now here you are so many years later, and you're revisiting it. So essentially, he planted seeds in you years ago as a wrestler. I hope he's listening. Nikita Koloff, who was a well-known figure in the 80s in the NWA, wrestled all over the world, and he had left wrestling industry in 1993 to become a pastor and found faith, got saved. And there was a wrestling show I did in 03, and I met him. We talked. And of course, I was like, if you knew me in 2003, I was like, yep. So what did I do? I drove home drunk, almost.
No.
Shouldn't even say this, but
my mom's listening, Mike. My mom's listening.
I almost got into some trouble, and I said, and the guy I was with, my other friend Timmy, God rest his soul, he went his way, and he got the same thing happened to him. So he put like a little. I was like, I put a hex on me. Oh, I'm so Nikita, why'd you do this to me for? Right, and then as you go through life, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, but deep down inside, I think all of us, men and women, were searching for something that can fulfill us, something that there's like a void in us. And I found like when I tend to look at things in a secular sense, right? Or what satisfies, like this Diet Coke satisfies something in me, right? Or going out meeting someone and hooking up or having cocktail, whatever it is, right? It's filling a void. Only lasts a certain moment, but what's going to last you a lifetime? What's going to set up the foundation for you and how you navigate this world? Obviously, you believe in something because you know right from wrong. Now, whether it's something textbook or a spirit or a belief, there's something inside of you that's dying to come out, and you're just saying it. So you know right from wrong, and that comes from really, when you look at it, a few places. Right, it comes from your parents. Your parents got it from learning about God and stuff like that, and so the foundation's there. I think everybody has that foundation. It's whether they want to act on it or not. So you're in a good spot, dude. And I think there's a lot of guys out there and girls that probably experience what you experience as well. And now it's like, with times being so crazy, I think you're seeing more people turn and understand the importance of having God in your life, because this world is nuts. This world is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's only getting worse.
I mean, come on. More than two sexes? Seriously?
Listen, people believe what they believe on that.
I mean,
it's a whole different world in that area.
I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not no disrespect to anybody out there, but you know, yeah. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Greggy T. So we covered a lot in that, little kind of
Yeah, a little
diverse.
off topic, but whatever. It
No,
all
but it
it
all tied
relates.
in.
It relates.
It all tied in because we talked about that instant gratification about saying, F it, we'll think about it anyway. Or, we
Yeah.
talked about the mistakes of acting out of emotion.
Mm.
If you think you're going to make a mistake, like if you think like, oh, like, let's say dating wise, you go out with a girl, you see red flags, but you choose to ignore them,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Boy, that's never happened.
you know, uh, I can't even blame my contact lenses on why I ignore red flags, right? Do you think it's wise, or how can we say stop? Like what advice would you give somebody to say, hey, before you go and do something that is not really going to benefit you, pump the brakes, go somewhere, write out a pros and cons list before getting into that situation. Is there
Sometimes
a
you don't
way?
have time to do that. Sometimes it's like you got to make a decision. It's right there, and sometimes you don't have time to take a step back and dissect it. So, and I'm definitely the wrong person to ask on this, but I just think I don't know. As I get older, just obviously we know usually beforehand, whether it's 5 minutes before or 5 days before, it's a mistake. The only way to avoid it is if you just hold yourself accountable, but truly accountable to, I'm not doing this again. I'm just not
Right.
doing it again. It's not worth it. And then you got to ask yourself, well, okay, if I do this mistake, if I move forward, what what are the consequences? And if you're okay with that, then you then deal with it. But then don't complain you made the mistake, or don't complain to somebody that, oh, I can't find somebody good or whatever, using that as example, because it's just going to fall on deaf ears because you knew better. So just shut up and deal with it then if you chose to do it.
Agreed.
You just gotta it becomes non-negotiables versus negotiables. And if the mistake is that important to you that it becomes a non-negotiable, then just that's non-negotiable. You're not going to do it.
I agree.
I mean, like you hang out with the wrong crowd. You know certain things are going to happen. You know you're going to be put in harm's way. You know by the end of the night, either you're going to be in a fight or something like that, or you're going to be in jail. Like, those are your two options. There's no other options unless you get
Right.
super lucky and you make it home. If you choose to go forward, well, then you got to live with it. But
Right.
if you know beforehand, if I hang out with these people, there's a really high chance that something bad's going to happen. Yeah, is it worth it? And make sure you don't go forward with it. It becomes a non-negotiable. It's very hard because at the end of the day, you can talk to 1,000 people if you want. You can have your boys there, your girls, whatever. You have to make the decision for yourself. No one can make it for you.
Yeah, and that's a great call too. I think another thing too is having that situational awareness. And if you
Yeah.
know something's going to go down, don't put yourself in a situation. Like if I go to a bar, if I say to myself, all right, I want to meet a nice girl. Look, there are a lot of nice girls that go to bars. Don't get me wrong. But when there's alcohol involved and there's spirits involved, right? There's always a chance that it could go in a few different directions. So if you want to meet
Mhm.
somebody nice and sober without liquid courage, don't go to a bar. Don't put yourself
Which
in a
you've never
position.
needed, by the way. Mike is good. Mike is good.
So I've been told.
Mr. Social Butterfly versus Mr. Hermit right here.
Yeah, give me get me a pot of coffee, and I'm good. I don't see I don't even need coffee, but I mean, again, again, it's a great observation because it's all about your personality type.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
if you're gonna do something on social media, try to get yourself on an app or some sort of like virtual group that espouses the same values that you believe. You're not gonna find your dream girl on OnlyFans. Hate to say it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Or a
Agreed.
dream guy. It works both ways. So,
And just change your mindset with things too. Oh, I'm never going to meet somebody nice. I keep saying that because you keep putting it out there. Or, I don't go out, so I'm not going to meet anybody. You don't have to go out to meet somebody. You can meet somebody just walking out of your house or your apartment or wherever, going to get gas. You never know. But you have to be able to think that way and put your mind right instead of being so negative over nothing that has even happened, and just stay in that positive mind frame where maybe a group like you were talking about, maybe it helps that. I don't know. I'm just saying you got to get your head right. And I'm not to get mushy or anything, but I truly believe in making sure you put the right energy out there.
100%.
I really, when you manifest things, whether it's on paper or verbally or whatever, I think it takes some weight in space, and it takes that, and it's out there for the universe. And I think it'll listen at some point. And I think that the less negative you think and put out there, the better it is for you.
I
And you
agree.
always know those people. They always have the answer.
Mhm.
They always have the answer. They always have the answer. Okay. I'm just not going to talk to you anymore because I'll cut that out. And
I agree.
now that I'm older, I definitely cut that out.
Oh yeah, real quick, real quick.
Yeah, because I don't have time for that. I don't have the energy. I don't have the brain capacity for that. The bandwidth. I want to be left alone. I want to be chill, and I want to be around like fun, happy people, not negative Nellies everywhere. There's plenty of them. Go hang out with each other and leave
I
me alone.
agree. I agree. And we talked about this earlier, but I want to elaborate on it real quick for a minute. Repeating the same behavior.
Mm.
Um, I would get your thoughts on this first before I chime in. Do you think repeating the same behavior is a byproduct of what we believe about ourselves?
I think it's definitely a part of it. Yeah. If you're not secure with yourself enough, or if you're not confident enough, or you have maybe doubt in a certain area, then yeah, I think it'll definitely bleed into that 100%, because you can't fully commit to not making the mistake if you're not confident in your abilities in whatever category that mistake might be made in. You have to be well rounded in everything, I think,
Yeah.
in order to face that mistake and choose whether or not you want to do it.
Yeah, and I agree. I think self-love, if I think self-love is kind of like a broad definition of self-love, but
Hmm.
I think self-love means something different to everybody.
Yep.
I know for myself, it's like my workouts are like without my workouts, I feel irregular,
If
and
you think about it, we've known
it's
each other, what, 23 years?
yeah, half my life I've known you.
It's always been a constant in our life. If you look at it like that, through that lens, like there's always
Yep.
been that. It's important. It's important.
Or it doesn't have to be working out. It could be whether it's reading a
Yeah.
book, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But I think like if
Hmm.
you really love yourself, like I know, like for me, the more I get into my workouts, and obviously my job is health related, and I
Hmm.
really get into it, the less I'm inept to make choices that are going to be detrimental to my body. Like even like
Hmm.
when I think about alcohol, and I've had a love-hate relationship with alcohol most of my adult life. It's
Hmm.
like the choices I make now are so much different than they were years ago because through a process that I've talked about. And some people can be healed, boom, they quit cold turkey, whatever device they have. For me, it's a process. It's been a process and a process and a process. And I think now it gets to the point where like if I have a couple drinks, I'm good. Like I don't need to
Yeah.
get to the point where I get smashed or I need to like prove to somebody that I can put someone on the table with alcohol. I don't like that feeling. First off, my insides can't take it. Number two, I just don't like feeling like crap the next day. And it's
Yeah.
just like number three, when I have a night like that, I'm not saying like, okay, maybe once a year. I can't remember last
Next
time I
time
got
I'm down.
that. Yeah, I can't even get that. But I didn't even drink when you were here.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I
You
had one.
know,
I had one.
right? You had one, and I was drinking club soda because it's like if I have that drink, and this is where it becomes the awareness. If I have a drink, not that drinking is a mistake, but for me, it's like if I have that one drink, it's going to affect my work day tomorrow. It's going to affect my workout. It's going to affect how I live that day. Now, full disclaimer, I do some of my best work when I'm hungover. I don't know what it is. after a cup of coffee and a night out with like 2 hours sleep, I could work 10, 12 hours straight. And that's the truth, man.
I always played the best games hungover back in the day. Weird. I'd be
Wild.
puking in the parking lot before the game, and I crushed it. That was weird. Weird.
Wild. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But as now I'm older and smarter, as you know, you are as well. It's
Huh.
like if I go out, even if it's one drink, I'm like, well, how's it going to affect my workout tomorrow? Am I going to be able to perform at my best? Am I going to be able to perform at this? You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think, or even if it's like, you know, for guys out there, and even for girls, like we talked about unprotected sex, right? There's still this like, I think this belief, and I'm old, but I'm not that old. You're living in Manhattan, right? And for people living in New York City, listen to this. Most people roll the dice.
Yeah. I think most people roll the dice anywhere, not just the
You know what I
city.
mean? And people don't realize like 1 in 4 have something. A
Yeah.
lot of people are carriers. They don't have any. They're asymptomatic.
Hmm.
So it's like, do you really like before you make that choice? Do I love myself enough to where I'm going to take a chance with this person, both guy and girl, or
Hmm.
do I say, let's wear protection, or let's just wait and get to know each other a little bit more before I
Hmm.
do that?
Yeah.
So I think before we get into these situations that could compromise us,
Yeah.
I think there is a thought process. There's like a break, like you know.
Yeah. Yep. I
And
agree.
and here's one for you, Greggy T, as we're getting closer to the end here. No matter how much someone asks for advice, because I know you've experienced this with people asking you, they do the opposite and still make the same mistakes. And we talked about this earlier. Why is it a bad thing? We talked about fixing people. Just go into this a little bit more. Why is it a bad thing to impose our beliefs on someone when they ask us for advice and they still make the same mistake over and over? Because you want to help them, like, darn it,
Yeah.
like, what are you, like, blind? But meanwhile, it's like, why am I taking that on?
Hmm. Yeah.
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 So how do you is that a bad thing to get like that? Like how can you kind of draw the boundaries between giving advice and getting emotionally invested?
If they ask for advice, whether in business, same thing as personal, when they ask for advice and I give it, I don't expect them to do it. Advice is advice. They're just asking for my opinion. That's fine. When you continually ask for it and continually do the opposite and then come to me complaining when, like I said, I've given you certain advice for X amount of time, I'm not listening to your bullshit or you complain because that ship has sailed. So going forward, if you ask for my advice, I'm going to give it. I have nothing emotionally invested in that at all. Take it or leave it. Like I know you're probably not going to take it, so I don't care if you do anymore or not. Like the I look at it as like a tank. Like the I give a shit tank is full in the beginning, and then you withdraw, you use it, and if you're not replenishing it, that tank gets empty after a while. So now I don't care, and there's nothing in the tank. So you want my advice? Here's my advice. Have fun.
Right.
In business, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, there's a little bit more leniency in that because people sometimes have to learn the hard way, and business sometimes takes a little longer, especially in like real estate. So when people used to ask for my advice and still do, I would give it. Once again, I don't expect them to do it. I'm not imposing my will on them. I'm just, when it comes to business and real estate, I'm just telling you what works from my past experience. So my failures maybe will help you not fail where I did, save you some time, save you some money, and make you some more money. Like I wish somebody had told me these things when I was in their position. So it's called knowledge transfer. I'm just transferring what I did to them. I don't expect them to do it, but when they do and they see that it works and they're happy and it's a great feeling. But I'm not imposing anything on them, just like in a personal category. I'm not imposing. You ask my opinion, I'm going to give it to you. And you can do whatever you want with it. But when you continually don't take the advice and come back complaining and whining, I don't want to hear it. Nope.
Yeah. And I think especially us being fixers, it's kind of hard not to get emotionally invested because it's like, why aren't you listening? And you try to figure out ways to get through to somebody. You know what
It's
I
getting
mean?
easier as I get older, Mike. Tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's always hard for guys like us.
100%, man. And I think other like men and women that are listening out there, it's like, you try to like think of ways to get through to somebody because what you're saying believably is going to help that person.
But that's a big thing is your delivery. Not everybody is receptive to certain things,
That's
and
right.
you sometimes have to change up your delivery, even though it's the same message. You
That's
got to
right.
try to approach it different. Everyone, like I said this last time with the coaching and the swimming, you can try to fire somebody up a certain way, and it might not work for that person. They might be more reserved or more of a thinker, and they need to see the example a certain way. Meanwhile, somebody else, you can just hammer them and just say, hey, listen, go do this and crush it, and they got it. Same message, but it's delivered different. Same thing with this stuff. Sometimes people need to hear advice and it's not sinking in because maybe you're not reaching them the way they need to be. So have a little patience and try rerouting your
Right.
answer, and maybe it'll work. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
No,
So,
well put, man. We'll wrap this thing up here, Greggy T. Last thing I want to ask you: any tips you would give someone on not making the same mistake twice? Anything that you could think of that we haven't covered yet?
well, what everybody could do is hindsight. Everyone has it now. I mean, look back at your history. If you're in a situation, have you been in it before? What did you do about it? And what was the outcome? And if everything looks the same with the same outcome and you find yourself in that same thing, well, you can pretty much expect the same thing if you don't do anything different. And if you want a different outcome, change your approach or change what you do, or deal with it, or don't deal with it, or don't make the mistake. You just have to be cognizant, and it all goes back to holding yourself accountable, truly accountable, which, it's like you said, it's very rare people do it because nobody wants to face the person in the mirror. So,
Yeah, I would say too, to add on to that, I think no matter man or woman who is ever listening to this, you need to have a foundation of your decision making, whatever that might be. Greg knows right
mhm,
from wrong. Whether he knows it or not. There's a spirit inside of you that's telling, kind of navigating you through life. Your parents taught that to you, and
mhm,
that was passed down to them. And I think our lineage and our families play a big role in our
yeah,
friends as far as our influences in our decision making
mhm,
process. But you got to have, no matter what you believe in, whether it's being Christian, whatever it is, have a foundation for your thoughts. Have a foundation for your decision making,
yeah,
and then
for
from
sure.
there, kind of make sure you hit the pump the brakes a little bit when something could be problematic. It's hard, but we
Yeah,
also know there's a voice inside of you saying, "Hey, Greg, this might not be a good idea. I heard it, Mike. I don't know about this."
yeah,
And you're like, "Shut up,"
yeah,
right? Because you just say, "I'm doing this. I want the instant
yeah.
gratification."
I'm going for it.
Yeah, I'm going for it. And then just understand, like, listen, what are the ramifications behind my decision? Like, if I get behind the wheel of a car
Mm,
when I'm impaired, the ramifications are I could get arrested, I could lose my license, I could lose my business, I could lose a lot of things, or I could kill somebody, I could hit somebody, I could injure somebody, or I could
mhm.
get home safely. Right?
And that's a tangible thing you're talking about. Take this into relationships where you can't touch or feel it, but the damage could be just as heavy as that.
Yeah, irreparable. You hit
Yep.
somebody,
Hmm.
irreparable. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, those are the three things I would tell somebody. I mean, I have a pretty strong sense of what I'm doing before I get into it, and I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I ignore, and I usually pay the price. And then I have to look up to the sky and be like, I can't believe you sacrificed your only son so I could be an idiot.
But that's a lot of weight, in my opinion, to put on yourself. You already know you made the mistake. Like, that's where I'm like, give yourself a little bit of a break.
Well, it's
But
not
I
me that's
still understand it at the same time. I get it.
right. And then, for me, it's like, then I feel like a hypocrite. I feel like ashamed. I feel embarrassed. But it's also realizing, like, whatever people can judge me on, that's fine. But it's really like understanding that, like, the mercy and compassion I'm looking for is not from here. Obviously, if you offend somebody, yeah, you want to be contrite, in
Mm,
your apology and your repentance. But it's like, really, it's just understanding that, like, for me, it's like God loves me no matter what. He understands, he forgives, but there are guardrails that are set up, right? There's
mhm.
railings. And like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, don't hop over the railing. And I'm not gonna lie, I hop over the railing a couple times every now and then. But
I think we all
it's
do.
it's also knowing like, hey, before I get into that situation, when I know something's gonna pop up, let me try my best to remove it. Or because I always say, nah, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna handle it this time.
Yeah.
Never works.
Yeah.
So those are my tidbits of
It's
wisdom.
a tough battle.
Whoop.
Whoa.
Da-da-da-da-da.
It's a tough battle, when mistakes are made and not doing them again. Like you said, it's almost like a moving target. It's a work in progress always.
Always.
No one's like set in stone, perfect, whatever.
Nope.
So
It's a battle, and I don't care who you see on social media, especially a lot of the Christian people. Like they're fighting battles too,
yeah,
and
everyone has
battles.
their own
Everyone has got
things.
their own thing.
But
You
like
know.
it also there's friendships that are true unconditional love, which is
Oh
great.
yeah.
So, our group, somebody can literally do the worst thing. And I'm not going to not be friends with them. Like I listen, I might not agree with what they do, but they're still my boy. I don't care. I'm not going to judge them. I don't look at them any different. They did what they did. So I'm not, that's nice to have that though. A lot of people don't have that. They may think they have it and then something happens and watch people ghost. They're out. They distance themselves and they want nothing to do with you. That's not true friendship, in my opinion.
Yeah, and hence why it's important to have that community, man. No matter what it is you belong
Yeah.
to, like our
Hmm.
group, it doesn't matter what happens, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Hmm.
We have each other's back.
I did tell somebody the story the other day of when you guys antiqued me in Vegas.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's cool.
That was your first trip, right? That was the first trip to Vegas
Hmm.
with the baby powder. That was a good one.
Yeah. They're like, "What's antiquing?" I'm like, "Oh, funny you say that. I'll tell you." Yeah, it's good. It's good times.
Yeah, I thought you were dead.
Yeah,
I was like, is he moving?
I'm here.
That was a
It's the
fun night.
Incredible Hulks, man. It was bad news. Those things, ugh.
That was a fun night. I don't know what Vegas is like now, but I mean,
Oh,
back
it's
then it was.
probably it sucks from what everyone says. It sucks.
Yeah,
I'm glad we went when we went.
yeah, and living in Florida, it's like I'd rather go to the Bahamas, man. It's like a 30-minute flight and like it's
Hmm.
better weather. And I don't know,
Agreed.
it's
I
like
agree.
right over here.
I
But
agree.
well, sir, this was a great topic, great
It-
conversation.
It's a tough one, man. No one wants to have these conversations. They're not sexy. They're not the things that are out there with the same old stuff. But everybody faces this stuff. Everybody. I don't care who you are. We all face this, and we all, whether you want to talk about it or not, or come to terms with it or not, everyone faces this pretty much daily.
100%,
Guys,
100%.
girls, young, old, doesn't matter. So just
I
trying to help
agree.
one person navigate their way and figure it out through clearly all of our mistakes. So
Yeah, and that's what it is, man. Iron sharpening iron.
I wouldn't change any of our mistakes though.
No, me either.
Hmm.
I
That's another
wouldn't.
thing. I wouldn't.
Nope. Because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be sitting here
Agreed.
with you at whatever time it is here
Yeah,
having this discussion.
I agree.
So, Greggy T, fill us in. Forever Progress, how's it going? Where can our people reach you if they want your
Hmm.
expertise?
Yeah, foreverprogress.com, Forever Progress on Instagram, private sessions, doing group sessions. It's all good. Whether you're just getting your license, thinking about getting your real estate license, or you already have your real estate license and you're stuck or plateaued, you want to, make the jump up to make more money. This is definitely it's a good year for real estate, no matter what you hear out there, but it has its challenges and ebbs and flows and everything goes in circles and you just have to know what to do to keep making money. It's not that hard. And also CLO rum, everything's going forward, everything's good. I will
Nice.
keep everyone up to date with that. We just got another like license, or it's all pay to play in that industry. It's crazy, but we got another license, and then we were repricing out different bottles, and after that, it's time to produce it and have some drinks. So
Nice.
yeah, we'll have some sort of launch party down in Florida. Obviously, you'll be there, Mike, and it'll be awesome. Really looking forward to that. It's a big deal, and just to give light to what Mike and I have always talked about empowerment, this whole thing started as a joke, a simple joke, chance encounter, met somebody. We were both drunk in the Keys on a motorcycle trip. And fast forward, God, I don't even know how many years is that now? 5 or 6, maybe. Fast forward now, and we have a rum company and two idiots you never thought it would happen. And it's literally just by chance and sticking to it, figuring things out, and just going for it. So you never know. So that's it.
That's right. That's a great way to end it. You never
You
know.
never know. I mean, look at your business. Look at your business. It's scaling, it's growing. You're getting weekly new opportunities, like huge. And who would have ever thought it, It's great. It's all these things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And but it's also putting the time and putting the effort, and you have passion for it and love for it, and the education, all that comes, you get that, but there's a reason things succeed. So
right. And
awesome.
it goes back to the foundation, right? If you
Yep.
have a foundation and you're rooted in something, you're able to let
Yep.
that develop and evolve. And I think the thing with me and you, I go back to Ephesians. We talk about religion most of the time, right? Serve willingly as if you were serving the Lord, not people. So you realize that people that come in your way, especially for me, it's someone's father, mother, husband, wife, daughter, son. So they're not just a number. They're not just a client. There's someone's loved one. How would I want my loved one treated? How would I want that? So it's like you really when you have that perspective and you understand like this is someone's wife or someone's mom,
Yeah.
you gotta and even someone's father. I mean, customer service, I think, has just really gone down the toilet in every industry. But if
Horrible.
you're but if you're
Horrible.
rooted in something that you believe in, and you realize that, wow, like God's using me as the conduit to help this individual, that changes the whole dynamic of how you go about things.
And you want to work with people that want to work with you. If they're gonna nickel and dime, or if they're not gonna appreciate literally the level of service that you're talking about specifically right now, then I don't want to work with you. I know you don't. But there are people out there that are seeking that and that want that level of service. That's why when they come across, your company and your retention rate's pretty high. And there's a reason for that, because they see the value that you're providing. So
Well, I
it's a
appreciate
big
that. I
deal.
hope
It's a
so.
big deal.
I hope so. And I think,
Hmm.
even with our podcast, the thing that you and I really work our butts off on is showing value as why, it may not be the sexy thing or the cool
Yep.
thing to talk about, but these are real things that real people face every day. And the more we can have these real
Yep.
conversations, the better we can kind of impact our world, make it a better place.
That's all we want to do. When people heard we were doing this, they thought it was going to go a whole different way. And we're just really trying to help people and talk about the things that, I'll be honest, not a lot of people want to talk about. We'll talk about it. No problem.
And I agree. And on that note,
Yes,
tune
sir.
in next week as the topics we're going to keep on coming. We're going to have guests
Valentine's
be
Day,
coming
right?
on.
Is that next week?
It is
Kind of.
kind of. We can do a
Ish.
Valentine's episode. Yeah, we could talk about that.
Ish.
Yeah. Yeah. So my Valentine is laying on my chair right now. She
That's
is my
right.
3-year-old calico. She's going to be 4, and she is on her back with her paws like this, legs open. Real lady
Okay.
I raised.
Yep.
Real lady.
Yep.
So she's my
Awesome, man.
best buddy. My best buddy. My cat, man. And before he let go, man. Like we talked about this earlier. Cats are I think they're misunderstood. I
Yeah,
think
people hate cats.
it's like, oh, I'd rather have a dog, which is great. Dogs are cool. Like, I
Hmm.
love all animals.
Yeah, I love
But
dogs.
dude, there's something about cats, man. They're just so funny.
They do whatever they want.
Like
But if
they
they like you,
do.
they like you. But it's crazy. They have their own world.
My cat, everything that they say cats don't like, my cat loves. She loves
Yeah.
going on planes. She loves going in
Water.
cars. She loves the water.
Yep.
We have conversations. She plays fetch. Like she's the funniest, just the sweetest animal I could ever ask for.
It's
So
awesome.
no such thing as bad animals.
She always welcomes me when
Oh,
I'm down there.
I'm telling you, man, she is like the friendliest cat. And I believe this, and we'll end it like this. No such thing as bad animals. It's the way these animals are raised and the way they're cared for that makes them what they are. That's what I believe.
I hear you. I hear you.
What do I know?
Yeah, you don't know anything. I don't know anything. So
You definitely don't know anything.
I definitely don't know anything. So
all right, my
spoiler alert.
friend.
Spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert. Spoiler alert. Greg is really not
Yeah,
that
man.
knowledgeable.
No, I don't know anything.
He's
So
just
it's
eye
cool.
candy. That's all he is eye
Oh
candy.
yeah, real. Anyway,
So,
have a great rest of your Friday, sir.
yes, you as well, sir. And to our audience out there, thank you
Yeah.
for tuning in, supporting us. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the
Mhm.
rest of your Friday. And God bless you all out there.
Yep. Be safe. And once again, happy birthday, Amanda. Hope you're having fun. I think you're in like Barbados or something. So enjoy. Take care, everybody. Thank you.